What's going on, gamers? So I know there's people that probably wanted to see this, but they didn't know it was out. But like I said before, when it comes to Series X PS5 Pro comparisons, it's kind of hard to find it. Well, Sky Captain over here actually has one for Cyberpunk 2077. So in this video, we're going to see once again the difference now between the PS5 Pro and the Xbox Series X, and seeing how the PS5 Pro is now in a league of its own. Not that the game doesn't look good on Series X, it looked good on PlayStation 5. They're always identical. But more about ever since PSSR 2 came out, it has set itself apart from the Series X, whereas before people were trying to say, you got a hard stare, yeah, there's a difference, but it isn't worth $700 or $750. Now we see that that is thrown out the window. So we're going to look at this comparison. I want you guys to let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe as usual. Let's get into this and see the difference here. Here we go. I'm going to get off the camera so that we can see both screens, obviously, professionally. All right, let's do this. Let's see what he has to say.
Is Cyberpunk 2077. We're doing a comparison. On the left, we have the PlayStation 5 Pro. On the right, we have the Xbox Series X. This comparison was quite a bit of work to put together, so be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well.
I got you
so
on
we got
my,
other
on my
face
account.
off here
When
now.
I get off
PlayStation
this.
5 Pro Enhanced. We've got sort of the definitive console offering as far as Cyberpunk goes. This game has really received just a wide range of updates and.
So if we stop right here, we're already seeing a clear difference with ray tracing. Look at these trees. Look how soft. And look at the texture compared to what it is on PlayStation. Big difference right here. The clarity on the ground too. Look how blurry this is compared to this. The shadow contrast is way better. It's no competition.
Releases on console, and the updates just keep coming. So we've got a few different visual options to showcase from the PlayStation 5 Pro going up against the, well, Xbox Series X side of things. A big focus on new ray tracing features for PlayStation, and again, just sort of the traditional modes we have for Xbox Series X. It's really quite interesting that the PlayStation 5 Pro version of Cyberpunk already had some sort of unlocked option, and then the Switch also got an uncapped sort of VRR mode, and then Xbox just has sort of been left to the wayside, which is quite interesting, and I'm hoping they go in and sort of do some uncapping or some 40 FPS type options would be really great for that side of things. Most of this video will be showing off the performance mode on the Series X versus the ray traced kind of performance mode for PlayStation 5 Pro, as those are kind of the preferences, I would say, for both sides of this particular experience. We also get something a lot more powerful with the PlayStation 5 Pro using PSSR 2.0, as Xbox is just utilizing FSR. But there is a toggle if you want to be a maniac and go back to FSR on PlayStation. Totally up to you and how you want to go about it.
Why would you do that?
Cool, so let's dive in and talk about the modes. So I would say that PlayStation 5 Pro's modes are really, really quite interesting, as they're really going beyond what we had before, whereas the Series X is kind of where that baseline is for that next-gen update they did a number of years ago back for the experience. So if we're looking at the ray tracing element, or the ray tracing mode, Xbox Series X has a ray trace mode, which is 4K, but it's more of an internal 1440p at 30 FPS with ray traced shadows. When you look at the PlayStation 5 Pro side of things, that would be more equivalent to the ray tracing Pro mode, which is 30 FPS or 40 FPS if you have a VRR high frame rate 120
So we see like the huge difference here in reflections. It's no competition.
hertz 120 FPS.
Unless you're getting that smooth 60.
And that mode is doing 1440p dynamic again to 4K using PSSR technology. It also has the ray trace shadows, but it's got some lighting features and reflections in some situations, being sort of your full kind of ray trace focus mode as far as full goes for a console side of things. Then there is the ray tracing 60 FPS mode, which again is the majority of the footage here for PlayStation 5 Pro, because it is kind of my preference for this particular platform.
So you see what he's saying? He's giving you the 60 frames per second mode. This is not the 40 frames or 30.
Which again is 1440p-ish going to 4K using PSSR, and you get the shadows, and then you get some reflection elements, and it's actually quite impressive and just gives you that sort of element of a pretty good looking picture cleared up with PSSR technology. And then of course you're also getting the
Big
reflective
difference.
elements within the environment on things,
Plus
windows,
60.
cars, stuff like that. It's actually quite impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And then we finally have the performance modes, which are kind of the main focus for, I would say, the Xbox side of things. It's the way I usually play the game, or did traditionally when I played it on Xbox. So it's performance 4K, but it's more of a dynamic 1800p at 60 FPS. And then on the PlayStation 5 Pro mode, performance is 60 FPS as kind of a baseline with a 4K PSSR technology. There might be some dynamic elements there, but it seems to be largely just 4K. And it does go up to a target of 90 FPS, but I mean, it would be uncapped, so in theory it could potentially go up to 120 FPS, as that's usually the cap sort of max for consoles, with 120 hertz displays being sort of the high range that you can go to, unless specifically they've capped it at 90 FPS, but when you get up to that kind of a high frame rate, it is a little harder to tell specifically, just because you get to such high frames. So you really get to go above and beyond, which is similar to what you actually had on the Pro prior, with it being like a sort of half enhancement.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's really weird that the Series X didn't get any sort of support for this sort of thing, or even, you know, kind of the 40 FPS support. It's a bit odd.
Yeah, like if you stop and pay attention to stuff like this, you see how much more blurry and how much more clear it is over here. The color texture and everything is better. Plus, you're getting 60 frames per second with higher ray tracing elements. There's literally no competition. How much clearer the car looks too, and that car is even closer. If you look at details for this being farther away, it's just significantly better.
But yeah, it's really quite interesting. So basically, performance mode is similar between the two consoles, but of course you can go way higher on the frame rate options for the PlayStation 5 Pro, which I think is something a lot of people appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a really clean image, and you get the high fluidity, which just makes performance mode on the Pro excellent. Or you can go with the ray trace mode, which gives you, again, the 60 FPS, which feels smooth, feels great. You know, it's a lower resolution, but you do get the cool ray traced effects that traditionally we really haven't been able to achieve on consoles prior, and that's a really exciting tease for likely what we'll see with the PlayStation 6 down the road. And I'm hoping that the next generation console from Xbox also provides a similar sort of upgrade if they go back and do that for the Xbox side of things as well. And I think that would be quite nice, and it would improve the experience there quite a bit. Obviously, this is a massive boost for the PlayStation 5 Pro side of things.
Yeah.
Just the clarity across all the modes as far as hair, environmental features such as trees, plants. There's no shimmering on the roads. There's no shimmering in the environment. The water looks better. The picture quality looks better. It's cleaner.
You can see shimmering on Xbox.
It's smoother. You can reach higher frame rates. It really just showcases sort of the gap in technology between the Pro and the Xbox Series X.
Yep.
It's quite large here, and I think it just makes for a much more pleasing picture image, no matter where you're going or what you're doing or who you're interacting with or what you're doing within the game. And it is quite noticeable when you are playing, and just, again, the shimmering is the biggest thing, as FSR is not great. Anyways, I'll leave you with non-commentary gameplay.
So you saw what he said. I mean, and this is an Xbox guy, by the way. He's just an honest gamer. Much more shadows. You can see the reflections down there. Oh yeah. Uh-oh. Be careful with this. And this is not that scene, obviously. What you guys see, there's a huge difference here in ray tracing. Yeah, I mean, if you look at that, that's much better, with much better lighting. Much better background. You can see all the trees and everything much better, and the grass to the left or right. Super clear text as well. Guys, if you look in the background, you can clearly see the building and the sign is significantly better. I remember this area. We see it much better on the left than on the right. So yeah, good video here by Sky Captain. I'm gonna get on my YouTube account because I wanted to avoid ads. Obviously, I don't want you guys to have to deal with that, but I want you guys to let me know what you think about this. Once again, we see some differences here between the PS5 Pro, PSSR 2, and Xbox Series X. This is not here to beat down Xbox, but this is here now to see the differences compared to what they used to be before. I like people that are doing these videos because we get to still see these comparisons. And that's what people want to see, not just PlayStation 5 Pro versus PC or PS5 versus PS5 Pro. It's like, okay, what about the Series X? So here's a video right here I found. So yeah, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Peace out. Keep gaming no matter what platform you're on.